All right, everyone. Welcome once again. It is Friday. Curt Anderson and myself. This is the Manufacturing E-Commerce Success Series. We're happy today to come to you on what day is it today, Curt?
Manufacturing Day.
Yes, it is.
Let's say that together on three. Ready? What is today? 1, 2, 3.
Manufacturing Day.
All right. So, hey,
Yeah.
Happy Friday, everybody, man. This is just such an amazing, incredible day. What a great celebration. It's better than whatever your favorite holiday is. How's that one, Damon? So, I don't know. Anyway, you get the idea. So, guys, happy Friday. First Friday of the month is Manufacturing Day. We've got Diane Bigger here already. Diane, happy Friday to you guys. Man, drop Damon a note. You want to come on stage? We're just bringing anybody up here, right? So, hey, I want to do quick introductions here. So I got to go right. This guy here right below me is Mr. Think Bigger himself, the king of networking, Dan Bigger. Happy Friday to you, brother. How are you?
Good to be here.
Good
to be here, host.
It's great. All right, I'm going over to this guy now over there, this handsome devil. David Crysler, how are you, dude? What's happening, man?
Thanks for having me, guys. It's always fun to share the stage with you all, and super excited that Mr. Think Bigger is going to be here and sharing his insights about manufacturing today.
In the house himself, I'm kind of starstruck. Greg Mischio, dude, you're supposed to be clicking the link. You're supposed to get on stage with us, dude. You're supposed to be up here. So get up here right now. So hey, we've got Whitney now. I just want to set Damon. I just want to set the record straight. I think on Monday, she broke my account. I don't know, 200.
Yeah.
We had hundreds of comments.
It was 200 plus comments for that live
for Whitney.
stream. Crazy.
Whitney, I've never had a situation experience with a LinkedIn Live. And Damon, I think we've done a couple of these, right? I've never had 2 or 3, right? Where we've had someone that was showered with that much love. So I don't know. Let's see if we get the chat box fired up today. So guys, if you're out there, if you're with us, please drop a note. We are here celebrating Manufacturing Day and how critically important it is to, as much as we love it, man, it's just critical to our economy, to our friends, our families, our communities. Mr. Dan Bigger, let's kick off with you, brother. How important to you is manufacturing? How important is manufacturing to you?
I'm actually going to go to our chat yesterday, which was hosted by the Obsidian Group. And, they really just brought everyone in and talked about the stories on how you got started in manufacturing and what it means to you. And to hear some of the groups, that's been coming there for 3 years, hear some of their stories and how they got started, just some incredible stories.
Okay, so let's take it a step further. You are a Pittsburgh man at heart, am I correct?
Correct.
Okay, that one of the most, kind of the founding, right? Of my as a matter of fact, my daughter's studying the Industrial Revolution right now. Pittsburgh comes to mind. Just share, growing up in Pittsburgh, how important is manufacturing in the Western Pennsylvania area?
It's a blue collar city, so that's really the whole premise of everybody growing up is you become a hard worker because that's what the city was built on. It basically won us the war and built half the country. So there's really nothing else to say. And now it's reinvented itself and it's a tech hub.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And Pittsburgh is, boy, if you haven't been there, what a dynamic, incredible, wonderful city, amazing, global level universities with Duquesne, Pitt, Carnegie Mellon, of course. Oh my goodness gracious, dude. My pacemaker just kicked in. Nicole Donnelly here is on the stage.
Oh my gosh.
Greg Mischio, you have the link. Val, you're supposed to be up here. So Nicole, happy Friday to you. Happy Manufacturing Day. We have Nicole Donnelly from the Donnelly Marketing Group. So Nicole, we're going around the stage, and I know you need to cut out here shortly. So can you share with us how, I know you have a long legacy of entrepreneurship in your family, manufacturing runs in your blood. Talk about why is manufacturing so important to you, your family, our economy?
Oh, so great. I love this question. So it's just the backbone of our economy, right? It's just everything starts and ends with manufacturing. So my dad actually owned a manufacturing business. And so it's very, very personal to me. So I'm just so excited to be celebrating all those wonderful manufacturers out there who are doing great work every day. It's awesome.
Well, that is wonderful, Nicole. Thank you for joining us. We've got Greg Mischio. Greg, give a little wave there, man. We look at that handsome devil. God. So, all right.
Yeah.
Greg, I'm going to hit you in a second. David, I want to come back over to you, my friend. You are the king of process, as Whitney just said. Dude, last time you were on a stage here, I'm still blown away by you. Why is manufacturing so important? What's it mean to you, your family, your community? What's manufacturing to you?
Yeah, thanks, Curt. I mean, for me, I grew up in manufacturing. So, I joked about it on the Twitter chat yesterday. But, my parents owned two different print manufacturing businesses as I was growing up. So, I was destined to be 6 foot tall, possibly play in the NBA. But, here I am at 5'8" because of, the chemicals I was exposed to as a young child, running around in areas I shouldn't have been in manufacturing facilities. I remember riding on forklifts when I shouldn't have been, and all of the fun adventures that you can have being a kid in your parents' manufacturing business. So yeah, I have, a lifelong connection to it. And I've been in it and around it my entire professional career. And I think, from my standpoint, one of the things I'm really passionate about, and we're talking about, being excited about manufacturing in general, but, I took a pretty unconventional path, as some would say, to do what I do today and achieve the things that I have in my past. And so for me, sharing, that success means different things to different people, and encouraging the next generation to explore manufacturing, skilled trades, all of the things that are out there, because I think too often people have this impression of what manufacturing is, and that, it's all about getting your hands dirty and different things. And while that, 100% true, there's tons of other opportunities that touch manufacturing as a whole. And so just opening up those kind of doors and talking about all the fun I had and all the impact it's had on my life. That's what it means to me, why I'm so passionate about it, why I love doing this. It's just super genuine people, people that like to work hard, people that like to show up every day, and, people like the group on this panel. It's a tremendous community of people.
All right, Damon, there's number one, right?
Yep.
Moment of silence right there. Moment number one. So, David, thank you, dude. That was absolutely amazing. Love it. Again, David Crysler here, guys. You want to connect with David on LinkedIn. Let's go over to Madison, Wisconsin right now. So, hey, how about the Badgers, right? Greg Mischio, what is manufacturing? Why is it so important to you, your world? Share a little bit with us.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
We can hear you. Perfect.
Okay.
Brother.
Yeah, let's talk about manufacturing and not the Badgers right at the moment.
Okay. You're going to turn it around, man. You got a great new coach.
We're going to turn it around.
Coach Jim. So anyway, go ahead.
That's right. I actually, out of everybody in this panel, I actually kind of think of myself as a manufacturing immigrant. I don't have the background in manufacturing. I'm a marketing guy. And I've spent in my family, like Nicole's, that's part of her family roots. My families were academics. I'm horrible mechanically, but my wife can vouch for that. Yeah, right. But what happened with me is I decided I had a number of clients, like most marketers, all over the place, and I had a coach who said, you should really niche in something. And I'm like, well, we really like this manufacturing client really likes us, and seem to be doing good work for. So we said, let's niche in manufacturing, not really knowing too much even about the industry. And this is like, 4 or 5 years ago. And now, like, as soon as we got into it, I just could not believe how amazing the industry is in terms of not only like David was saying about the people and the pride people have in the industry, but as an immigrant to the industry, it's provided me with so much work and so much opportunity. And I feel like I put a post up there today on LinkedIn about this is an industry that can propel this country forward in so many ways. And I feel like it's you know, like I said, I've worked in a lot of different sectors and in niches, and this just seems like this beacon that can lift us up in so many ways. So I just feel, fortunate and blessed just to be on this stage. And, when I go to manufacturing plants, I'm just like, wow, I'm just dazzled by all the brilliant minds I see. So just happy to be here.
Okay. It's just coming from live from Madison, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Let's just take a moment and just savor what we heard. Okay. Now I want to unpack a couple things right there, Greg Mischio. Now, number one, thank you for being an immigrant, and thank you for bringing your superpowers, your talents, your passion to the manufacturing world. And I feel comfortable saying, not that I'm Mr. Manufacturing Authority, dude. Manufacturing's welcome guys like you with open arms. And I think what's critically important here with this conversation, this really segues what David just said. There's so much opportunity that, like, hey, I'm not mechanical, I'm not, but look at, you've brought an academic background, your passion and helping. And I want to go around everybody, but we're going to come back to you about your digital twin. But you've brought just such a great aspect to help elevate manufacturing, and all these different aspects are critical for our manufacturers to be, best in breed, global competitive. Dude, you're like giving me chills, man. This is just so good. Dan Bigger, let's come back to you, brother. Okay, you've had a great career in manufacturing. You are passionate for manufacturing. Again, you could have gone in different industries. What attracted you to manufacturing?
I got into it completely by accident.
So we have an immigrant and we have an accidental manufacturer. Let's hear your story, dude.
Yeah, I was working for a rental car company, and I was looking to get into outside sales. I took a job with Budweiser, which is in manufacturing. So, Budweiser led to the log home industry, which led to printing, which led to injection molding, which led to extrusion, and now I'm in software.
Man, dude, you've thrown on a lot of different hats. And the cool thing is, Dan, because you have covered so many different aspects of manufacturing, like you have maybe a vast different perspective than, like, as Greg's sharing. What, how do you see it a little bit differently? And, or, talking to young people, why do you feel that there's so much incredible opportunity in manufacturing?
I just think and it's something that I promote all the time, but it's working together. I've worked for companies that live in these little silos, and really a lot of the things that I learned was when I worked in the log home industry. The log home industry was a very, very niche industry, and it was fighting everything else. It was fighting conventional stick-built manufacturing housing, concrete housing, everything. So they stuck together and they worked together to forward, the log home industry as a whole and each other. Right. So we would reach out to each other and try to sell each other's products. Right. So really, that a lot of the beliefs that I have, because I was on their council for a couple of years, a lot of the things that I believe I've learned from other people, right? And that was a really good group of people that actually, dealing with code issues and all the different things that came up. It was just how everyone just came together for the common purpose of lifting everybody.
Absolutely. So, all right, that's a perfect question. Nicole, do you have another minute, or do you need to run?
I gotta run, guys.
All right, Nicole, thank you for joining us.
Thanks
Happy
so
Manufacturing Day.
See you later.
So,
have a great day.
Val, I think Val might be on vacation, but Val, there's so many dudes on the stage. Val, if you're out there, I think you might have a link. You got to come up here with us. But let's talk. All right, since you talk about community, David has talked about the Twitter group. Dan, you are just an amazing group. Let's talk community. David, I'm going to go to you first. How, you've talk about your journey, how, like, coming into this manufacturing world on LinkedIn, on Twitter. What has the community, the online community, done for you personally, for you professionally? What's that look like in your world in the past, maybe since COVID, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I kind of tell this story. I worked for a really large company for the majority of my professional career, and that company grew through acquisition. And so the majority of my networking, connections, community, all of that was internal to that one business, And so for me, leaving that, and I left there in 2018, leaving that was, I'll never forget, kind of being then out on your own and saying, man, like boy, I don't know anybody.
That had been was that scary? I mean, it had been a big leap of faith, right?
Yeah, 100% it was scary. And, you kind of quickly realize what that networking and community really means. And boy, when you put yourself out there, I said this earlier today on another show, but I just mean it from the bottom of my heart. It's tremendous to me because I've never been somebody that's been, super extroverted, right? And so for me, putting myself out there in these situations that made me personally uncomfortable and sharing my story and talking about personal things and saying what I'm struggling with and what I'm working on and what I'm trying to build from a business aspect, doing that, I could not imagine my life today without having gone through all of that and relationships and connections that I've made. I mean, even maybe a year ago, 18 months ago, I didn't know anybody on this panel.
Right.
And the power of connection and community and just, that kind of genuinely showing up for people. It's been tremendous. I literally could not imagine my life today without the interactions that I have on, a daily, a weekly basis with people in the manufacturing, world, in across social, LinkedIn, Twitter, all of that. So it's for anybody that's out there that may be hesitant or reserved. I really just encourage you to take whatever step you feel is appropriate for you, whether that's putting a comment in the comment section of one of these. You will be blown away by the people that reach out to you and that are genuinely interested in what you're doing. And the more that kind of cycle repeats itself, that's what energizes me today. It's not about like growing my business. That's all it's all bonus, honestly. That's bonus stuff.
Yep.
The thing that you feel when you connect with somebody and you can make an intro for them or you can help them through a problem. It's like that, I talked about like what success means. That is what success means to me today. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it meant something completely different. And, so I'm super fortunate and feel really blessed to have met all of you here. And that's kind of the mission moving forward. So this is what it's all about, man.
And right back at you, brother. That was phenomenal. Nice. And Greg, I'm going to slide down to you, dude. So you and I actually, we go pre-COVID. You and I met at Manufacturing Happy Hour with our dear buddy, Chris Lukey. Talk a little bit about, so collectively, what you shared earlier, 4 or 5 years ago, you decided to go all in on manufacturing. You and I connected with Jeff Long, Dave Griffith, if you're, any of those guys, great, amazing group. What's community been for you as far as moving forward, and why for manufacturers, why that's so important?
Well, I mean, I'll echo what David said. And, I came into this not knowing anybody, just like David did. And I met Chris Lukey and Jeff Long. Actually, Jeff Long reached out to me, said, "Hey, I see you're in this." And I met Chris Lukey. Naturally, you're going to run into Kurt Anderson if you meet anybody in this industry. So I met Kurt Anderson, and then, the floodgates open. But then I got to meet Damon and, of course, Dan, who is ubiquitous in the industry as well. So bigger than life, Dan Bigger. And, so it's just been great to be a part of the community. But I would say that, as I mentioned before, there's few other industries that are quite like this, and how people are willing, like David said, to reach out and help each other. And I will tell you that over the past year, I've really pulled back on my LinkedIn presence. I've done a little experiment. And because a lot of my clients, I'm working with small sales and marketing teams, and maybe even not even a marketing presence, just a sales leader, and nobody's on LinkedIn. And I'm trying to emulate to deliver marketing as best I can with someone who is not doing what David's doing or what Dan's doing and getting really active on the channel. And it hasn't been easy, and it sure hasn't been fun, and it hasn't been as productive as getting out here and doing good old-fashioned networking. So to David's point, if you need help, there's plenty of resources out here. A lot of people on this channel will help you get started, and plenty of content out there to help you get going. But just leave comments, do whatever you can, just become part of the community.
Man, I absolutely love that. Damon, I have a question for you. So I went around asking everybody why is manufacturing, what's it meant to you personally, your family? What attracted you to manufacturing? What has manufacturing meant to you and your family or your community growing up?
Well, I was a manufacturer before I knew what it was.
That's right.
I mean, growing up on the farm, I mean, my dad was always somebody that said, "Hey, we need a big trailer to haul equipment on." So we would, a semi-load of steel would show up and we would build this kind of stuff. And so I was like, I remember the first industrial accident I had is I burnt my foot with a hot welding coal or whatever slag on the ground because I didn't have shoes on when I was like 12. It's like, hey, Dad saying you can't be around welding like that. Remember, I told you have to have shoes on.
Yeah, it's like, go throw a Band-Aid on it, you're fine, right?
Yeah. And and then I'm like, yeah, here's what is that on the Windex, whatever.
Yeah,
Here's some Windex. But enough of that. But actually, and so I grew up in that. I grew up in building stuff and those kind of things. And when I found manufacturing as the industry, right? Equipment came to you and that kind of stuff on the farm. But when I got into manufacturing, I was like, holy heck. Yeah. I went to school for engineering accidentally just because I didn't know what the hell I was going to do. But I got into these manufacturing buildings and I'm like, holy heck, they're building this stuff and watch how it moves and watch what you make and watch how that powers our economy. And I'm like, damn, this is cool.
Right.
And then I just couldn't get enough of it.
Right.
And when you look at how it affected me, I was able to work 20 whatever years in companies helping people do it. And now I get to help lots of companies with educating and finding resources and all the kind of stuff we get to do. And when you look at today, the changes in technology that we're seeing in everything from equipment to how we talk to people to how manufacturers market and sell and educate their customer. It is just, I get so excited about this. Don't know what to say. It is affected me beyond. My heart is so full just because I can hang out with people like you guys on a daily basis and gals and people and whatever on a daily basis. I can't explain how much it means to me on a daily basis. It's so much fun. And we have so much potential. Like someone said earlier on the call, if kids aren't looking at this, if parents aren't telling their kids, at least go out and look at some manufacturing places, not just because I want to build something, I want to be, but if I want to be in technology, if I want to be a finance person, if I want to be a leader, if I want to be in HR, if I want to be in safety, there are so damn many places, computer science, there's so many things that manufacturers need now because it's a technology hub in here that's creating this stuff. It's not just Curt and I in the backyard cutting stuff and building it up anymore. It takes tremendous technology to drive these manufacturers when you look at the robotics. So I go on a little bit about this, but I love it.
All right, everybody, moment of silence right there. Just savor that one, Damon. All right, hey, how about a round of applause for Damon, man, dropping
Val's
dude. All right, we got Val in the house here. Val, happy manufacturing day to you. How are you, my friend? Are you there? Are you on mute? Can we hear you?
Oh, she can't hear us, she says.
Can you hear us? You can't hear us? Oh, man, Val's here. Dan Bigger, I was going to talk about.
And she's in the coolest industry ever.
Oh, my God. She's in FuseCast. I've taken many tours of her facility. It is absolutely incredible. Dan Bigger, let's go back. All right. So if anybody out there that's not familiar with the Twitter chat group every Thursday, 2:00 Eastern, 1:00 Central, can you please share with everybody what is this wonderful, amazing USA Twitter chat group that you guys have been talking about?
Yeah, it's a group we founded about 3 years ago. We followed a group out of the UK, and we just brought a bunch of people together, and we talk about a weekly topic that really just helps each other help share information that you're good at. So if you're a good social media marketer, if you're good at safety or whatever you want to talk about, we allow people to come on, talk about a topic, ask 4 or 5 questions a week, and share information with each other.
Right. And it's not very fast paced, right? Is that what I
No.
hear?
Actually, you know what? I was on 2 other chats this week, and ours is by far the fastest.
I personally, I have never experienced, I don't know if I've recovered from that day where I hosted one time. It was hands down. David, you're laughing. It's like the fastest hour on the planet. Now,
Yeah.
Dan, how did you guys what made you even think? And I understand you just mentioned like, oh, we followed a company, a group out of England or whatever. Like, how did that inspire? How did that come together? And what's great is like for folks out there, what I love what you've done. If, Greg, you came in, you're like, gee, I don't know many people. Or David, you're like, I don't know any people. What's a great way to socialize? What's a great way to build community? Start the community.
Right.
What lit the fire for like you, Ruby? I know maybe Paul, Jen Wegman. Like what inspired you guys? What lit the fires for you guys to get that started?
That was the inspiration, was the community and really just sharing the information, not making it about any one person or any one topic or any one company.
Yeah.
We didn't want it to be sales pitchy, and it never has become that.
Right.
So it's a way to share information, but it's also a great networking because everybody on that chat each week, you can see working with each other on Twitter, on LinkedIn, outside of social media in the real world and doing business with each other. I mean, one of the best ones I've heard was Paul Kishy helped Snaptron do their rebrand.
Right.
And those are 2 people that are relatively active in our group, but now they're working together and they just did a huge rebrand over the last year. So, I mean, those are the kind of things that really do it for me is when, people start working together and talking together, and then things progress into a business relationship, and it's successful, and everybody's happy, and it's a win for everybody.
Absolutely. David, I'm coming over to you, brother. I know you've been doing an amazing job putting out tons of videos. Incredible. Like, I think you're like the modern day Peter Drucker to me, man.
Yeah.
I hope you dig. I'm a huge Peter Drucker fan, so I hope you take that as a nice compliment.
That's a tremendous compliment. Thank you.
That's what I was hoping. So, let's go there for a second. So see, manufacturers, I just talked to a gentleman this week, digital immigrant, I'm a Gen Xer, above us are the baby boomers. Now before they were resistant, I don't need this website thing. I don't need internet. I don't, Now the script is flipped. Now they're scrambling and frustrated, discouraged. I don't know what to do. How do you do a tremendous job, kind of like my takeaway in our conversations on how you help kind of like nurture, get that culture, that momentum. Am I correct? Like, how do you help those folks kind of like turn the corner in manufacturing to embrace this new online digital age that we're in?
Yeah, I mean, I take a systems approach to anything. So, for me, systems break down into planning, people, process, and technology. And you can apply that framework literally to anything. You can apply it to content marketing. You can apply it to continuous improvement. You can apply it to improving your culture. And for the majority of manufacturers out there, they're really great at so many things. And if they just think about it from the standpoint of, it is building relationships, especially if we're talking about, connecting with people, growing your business from a social media standpoint, content marketing standpoint, all of those things, right? It's just about building relationships. The tool itself, it doesn't matter. And so for me, I break down systems the way that I explained it, because for me, I don't care if you're a Microsoft 365 company. I don't care if you love Google platform. I don't care if, you are an Oracle customer on the ERP side. I don't care if you love HubSpot or Zoho, right? Mm-hmm. Like the technology is just the tool. It's the underlying, planning, people, process part that people need to focus their effort on. And again, no matter if we're talking about content creation and digital marketing, or, we're talking about how to improve your quality management system. Mm-hmm. So that's how I like to think about it in terms of like how you can approach it, right? Think about it from your customer's perspective. Where are they at? You know, Greg, I think you mentioned it earlier, right? Like the companies that you've been working with lately, you know, there's not a lot of presence on LinkedIn. At some point, it might not be LinkedIn. Maybe it's some new platform that hasn't been born yet. So the point is, right, the technology doesn't matter, the platform doesn't matter, but what's the planning people process aspect of what we're talking about? How are you going to utilize those things to ultimately connect with the people that you need to connect with? Because at the heart of everything, we have to connect with people and have relationships with people. It's how everything in our world works. And the kind of faster you get on board with that, the bigger you can grow a company, the more influential you can be for other people, the more help that you can provide to other people. So that's how I look at it, how I break it down. And that's been my approach to be so active across social platforms, to continue to grow my community and to really just try to support other people in their journeys. And, you know, it's kind of the rest is taking care of itself.
That's awesome. And we have to pause there for that.
You know,
Take a
well,
little pause.
you know what? I'm going to interrupt the pause, Damon. I hate to say it because, you know, I can't afford to have David Crysler on the program anymore because I dropped my mic so many times that I have to keep buying these darn new microphones because of David Crysler. So, all right, David, thank you, brother. Another amazing. Oh,
Yeah.
God, you are so good. This is a perfect segue. Go ahead, David.
Before we change and segue into something else, Curt, because Curt likes to keep going. He's got his notes there. He's going down the thing.
I have no notes today. I'm noteless.
That's good. That's good because usually he's got a pile of notes, and I put like 2 sentences down to start one of these things, and they just rolls. But I wanted to ask you, Curt. You know, you're the manufacturing e-commerce guy. Let's hear it from you. What's manufacturing mean to you? How has it affected you, your family, your community?
I have a story for you. And then I'm Greg Mischio. I'm coming to you about the digital twin. So I have a manufacturing story. I came prepared, Damon. You ready?
Awesome.
All right. What's this?
That's an adjustable wrench.
It's a crescent wrench, right?
Crescent wrench.
So I'm 5 years old, 1973. You guys probably weren't even born yet, 1973. Look how young all you guys look. So I'm 5 years old. My father's like 6'5", full head of hair. He has like the year-round tan. I look nothing like him, right? So great guy. He's still my best friend. He worked for Crescent Tool. Crescent made crescent wrenches, right? He was like a union steward or whatever. You know, he was like 20, he was like, I don't know, 29 years old at the time. It's Thanksgiving-ish. It's Christmas-ish, you know, right around that time of year. And I'm 5 years old. Mom is crying. Dad came home. The Crescent Tool Company was leaving our area to go to a cheaper place. Family is absolutely crushed, devastated. I'm 5 years old. I'm like, it's holiday time. I'm like, is Christmas coming? Like, are we going to get gifts? I will never forget how devastated our family was by a manufacturer leaving the area. How many families throughout the United States have suffered of jobs going to other countries because we found cheaper places to make these products, right? And so it is very dear to my heart. It is my life purpose, passion for families, little 5-year-olds, and not go through and I had hair back then, Damon. So I was like this little blonde kid.
That was it.
And so it was devastating for our family. Dad found a job, and it turned, you know, and it actually ironically led to my e-commerce career, was because he lost that job. I'm not going to bore you guys with that story. But anyway, so I mean, our family was heavily impacted. And like Dan Bigger's from Pittsburgh. He used to live in New York. You go through like the Great Lakes region, you know, Dave, you're in Detroit. You go through like all through the Rust Belt, man. It's been, you know, Wisconsin to Syracuse, New York. It's been hit hard with manufacturing jobs going overseas. And I am thrilled that we have this renaissance of like bringing these jobs back to the United States. So anyway, it's very dear and personal to me. That's my story, Damon. How was that? And I came prepared. How do you like that?
That's awesome. That's awesome. Because, you know, it's important for you to share with us too, Curt. There is a background there, and you help people in manufacturing an awful lot, and you get to, I mean, you see a lot of manufacturers. I mean, how many of you toured this year? You've toured a lot.
Oh, I'll be posting on LinkedIn. Wait till you see the places I'm going this month. So Nicole Donnelly, we're going to Texas next week to visit a client. And I've got some surprises at the end at the end of the month. So Dan Bigger, you'll be loving the worldwide. I'll be sharing those on LinkedIn. But again, if we had e-commerce in 1973 for the little Crescent tool company, that company might not have had to leave the area. So
Yep.
all right, let's slide down to, so David, I was asking you about resistance or like how to make that cultural change. Greg Mischio, you are doing an amazing job with the digital twin. I absolutely love what you're doing. Can you please share with folks what the method of your methodology with the digital twin from a marketing standpoint?
So when I started to work with manufacturers, it's a sales dominated industry. 80% of the interactions are expected to take place in digital channels by 2025. That's Gartner. 58% of the sales process is already completed before a sales interaction takes place. That's according to the Challenger series. The stats are out there that manufacturers need to get into the marketing space and online and doing things like we're doing right now. It seemed to me logically, I saw a presentation on the digital twin. It's a recreation of a product or a process in manufacturing. It's used to prototype, test things. I thought, wow, we need to create a digital twin of the sales team using content. Okay, so that's the concept. And as we've dug deep into it, at first, like Sam Gupta once said to me, you got to have more to it than that. It just can't, otherwise it's just a gimmick. And as we've plumbed the concept more, what I've realized and learned that we as marketers need to get better at sales, that the folks like, Dan Bigger are out in the field conducting the sales. And if we are going to make a digital twin, we have to understand how sales works and have to integrate the strategy. And what I've learned is that marketing and sales are not aligned in most companies. And if they're not, you're talking about not only are you not making money, you potentially are losing money because you're spending all this money on marketing. In fact, only 33% of manufacturers actually turn their marketing into sales. So I realize that this, if there's something I can bring to the manufacturing table, it's that in the process of making your digital twin, you need to align your marketing and sales and make them come together. And it's been pretty much of a revelation for me personally and for our company to really get up into the sales team and learn sales strategy and then start to work with the sales team at the get-go before you're rolling out any marketing. And like Damon, you've said to me, big deal. You get a bunch of leads in. If sales doesn't go close it, you got nothing. So that's where the digital twin is and the work we've done and where we're sitting right now. But I just think that so many manufacturers are focused and they're so brilliant and they're focused on their products and their processes. We have to get outside of that and look at the customers and what they need and how we can reach all aspects, because manufacturing, what you're doing just doesn't solve that problem. It can help their business in other aspects. And that's a big part of like the Challenger sale. But anyways, that's where we're at with the twin.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. And so guys, again, if you're not connected already, please connect with Greg Mischio on LinkedIn here and check out his website, Winbound, right? Winbound.com. Did I have that correct?
Win as in we're going to win the game, not wind as this guy is full of a lot of wind.
we are bound to win in this digital twin escapade. How's that? So it's Winbound, Greg Mischio. You have to check out his website. Greg, your content and what's great about you is a lot of folks, like we kid around with marketers about, being the cobbler's kid with no shoes. We're so busy working with clients that we don't have the opportunity to work on ourselves, our own website. You do a phenomenal job and you are so selfless. One thing I was just talking to somebody about you recently. You do an amazing job where you'll take quotes, you'll take snippets from like a Dan Bigger, David Crysler, Damon. You'll take a bunch of quotes. I know Nicole, a lot of different folks, and you put together like an incredible piece of content space and you're promoting these other people, and even some aspects, like some of these folks are even competitors. So I absolutely love what you do on how you promote. You shine a bright light on other people, but you don't talk the talk, you walk the walk by putting out that incredible, wonderful content, which you also do for your clients. So, all right, let me segue over to Dan Bigger. Dan, is that true? I've never heard that sales and marketing don't communicate or don't get along. You've never experienced that before, have you?
I actually haven't, because when to be honest with you, because when I got further into manufacturing, I was sales and marketing.
You were sales, yeah. So you got along with yourself pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Well, I sent myself notes back and forth, but we always got along. We always were on the same page.
Yeah. It wasn't like Fight Club where you're beating yourself up, then, right?
No, but I agree with that. You know, that's what I mean. I follow Greg's stuff because he's totally right.
Right.
And you know, again, I come from a sports background, so it's almost like having your left tackle totally oblivious to what your right tackle's doing.
Right.
So if everyone's not on the same page, how do you expect to win?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So Dan, from your experience, you know, great career. You worked at different companies, from Anheuser-Busch to, you know, smaller manufacturers. You're in a SaaS company now. What situations do you see that have been very successful when marketing and sales do collaborate and do communicate well? How do you break that silo? How do you break that barrier? What have you experienced?
Well, I mean, I'll go to my current experience right now with John. You know, John and I are on the same page. We talk for hours a day about, you know, clients, what we're going to do, marketing. I know what he's going to do. He knows what I'm doing.
Right.
You know, we're sharing information and you know, we're sharing information with our team. So it's everybody. We try to keep everyone on the same page. So again, everybody knows what the play is and how we're going to execute it.
Right. And just for anybody out there, that's John Baglino. So again, you want to, all right. Connect with Dan Bigger and you will thank me in probably about 3 days. All right. So please connect with, is there anybody in the chat box? Is there anybody that's not connected here through Dan Bigger? I'm just curious. It's hard to imagine that anybody's not connected with us through Dan Bigger. So Dan, so you're talking about John Baglino. You guys are Tessa. You're doing an amazing job helping manufacturers with your service. David, coming over to you, brother. Let's stay on that same topic: marketing, sales. What have you seen in your space? What's going on in that aspect?
Yeah, I mean, I think to add to the conversation, right? It's I try to bring it back to a system perspective, and when you don't have the alignment between the planning people process, it's very challenging to tackle these really lofty goals in some cases, right? I mean, we're trying to connect with potential prospects. How do we go through, what does that part of the process look like? And then how does that connect to what happens, on the sales team side? And, looking at it from the 10,000 foot view and, back to exactly what Greg and Dan are talking about, right? How do we look at that from, that 10,000 foot view and then break it down into the detailed to get people working together, collaborating? I mean, one of the things that I love talking about from a process standpoint is, when we look at ways to improve things, the best way to improve any type of process is by including people that are not only closest to the process, but adjacent to the process, before the process, after the process. And so that's the kind of stuff that we're talking about here. I mean, that's, to me, the real power of applying a kind of systems thought process to any of the things that we're talking about as it relates to sales and marketing. We can talk about that from a finance and operations perspective. Again, you can apply this stuff from a framework concept to any of the things that we're talking about. So getting comfortable with looking at your processes from a 10,000 foot view, dialing into them, and then bringing the people together that touch each one of those processes. That's the way to move the needle forward for any of the goals that you're trying to tackle in any manufacturing business, really in any business, but, in manufacturing, in distribution, in any related service business, right? You can apply this stuff anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like a masterclass. Like when they,
yeah.
You're going to have to start bringing oxygen, Curt, so you don't pass out.
There we go.
It's like a all right. We're coming into time. Let's go ahead, Damon.
Well, I think there's one thing that, and Greg will appreciate this, and the others on the panel and people listening that are really understanding and seeing the changes that are happening. And I said this morning when we were on, David, I've been thinking about manufacturing a lot. And the manufacturers that are reluctant to think about sales and marketing differently are the same manufacturers that'll spend millions of dollars on a brand new piece of equipment because their old piece of equipment isn't fast enough anymore, doesn't keep up with everybody else, and they've got to change it. But they won't think that same way about their sales and the fact that they need marketing. I'm sorry. And they have to work together and they have to be out there because, Greg was saying it. People, 80% of the people are going to have, or what is it, by 2025, 80% of the buying decision is going to be made online before they even talk to somebody, or what? It's crazy amounts. I mean, this is data. This is not like we think, oh, I'm a marketing guy, I want to, we got to do it. If you're not educating your customers, if you're not getting really uncomfortable about what you're sharing about your company and why you're a good fit, why you're not a bad fit, and then ultimately this is going to make everybody cringe that I'm talking, I think you got to share pricing online. It doesn't have to be your final price to somebody, but if you're not going to do that, because if you're not thinking about what that buyer needs to be able to do, the process they need to go through, educating so they can make an informed decision about your company and how you can help them, and then get to the price of it, you're just putting roadblocks up. And if we're not making the sales process frictionless, they're going to go to somebody that is, and they're going to buy millions of dollars from that somebody that is. We're not talking about a dollar pen. Right. They're going to go to somebody because buyers don't care anymore. If I have to find the new place where I'm going to drop my $5 million worth of this kind of work, the best, I'm going to get on Google. I'm going to search it. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to go, yeah, Valerie's saying this. Valerie's in her kind of business. This is, if we don't change our sales and marketing approach the same way that we're aggressively changing our operations and making other things good in manufacturing, you're going to get left behind at somebody that is. Just the way it is. And sorry, I'm jumping off my soapbox. It makes me, you got to do it or you're going to die.
It's another moment of silence, Damon.
I lived it. I lived that process.
Let's hear it, Dan.
Let's hear it.
It took me 3 years to convince one of my employers to get a new website, but they went out and bought two $500,000 machines in overnight.
Yep.
And I remember the website. You did do a great job, by the way. And also Val, I'm stood corrected. I said, if you connect with Dan Bigger, your network will explode in 3 days. Val, I agree with you 100%. It's about 3 hours. Do yourself a favor. If you are new to LinkedIn, you absolutely want to connect with Dan Bigger. Now, Damon, we had a fun little LinkedIn party on Tuesday with folks. We did a little workshop for folks.
Yep.
And we talked about the term digital self-serve. And so I think with what everybody in the panel here is discussing, Dave, with processes and technology, absolutely with the digital twin, and what Dan Bigger is talking about is like, how do you provide that digital self-serve experience where if they're going to do 80%, and I let's like savor that word again. You said frictionless. And it's such a different mentality for the manufacturer. We're talking e-commerce. We're talking configurators. We're talking, quote builders on your website. Let the buyer do that process, right? Okay. I know we could go all day. I want to be mindful, respectful of everybody's time. Everybody here is super busy. Let's wrap up on this. I want to go around the panel. Manufacturing Day. We are here celebrating Manufacturing Day. My dear friend, Greg Mischio. Words of wisdom, thoughts that you want to share about what this day means, and for young folks out there or the future manufacturing, just anything that comes to mind. What do you want to share about Manufacturing Day as we move forward?
I mean, I just think we got to keep talking about it. And I really feel in my heart that this is what this country needs. Everybody goes for the tech world in the bright, shiny objects, but I'm telling you, the manufacturing space, from a physical, biological, and digital aspect, I mean, you're talking about Industry 4.0, manufacturing can bring such innovation to all three of those components, and all those are coming together in our lives. And manufacturing is going to be spearheading our efforts there. And you just got to keep this train rolling and talk it up.
Okay, everybody, please let's give a round of applause for our dear buddy Greg Mischio. Greg, it's been way too long since you've been on the stage talking digital twin with us. Made my day today.
A manufacturing immigrant that knows it's living it today and speaks so well.
Well, thank you for joining the party, Greg. Thank you for joining the party today, and thank you for joining the manufacturing party overall, bringing your superpowers, your passion, expertise. Dan Bigger, you have two sets of twins. I don't know if folks don't know that. 2 sets of twins. For young folks out there, what's Manufacturing Day? What does this mean to everybody? Just kind of share your thoughts, your feelings as we wrap up.
I really think, as you look at a manufacturing career, it's about being a part of something that's bigger than yourself. Everything that you touch on a daily basis is manufactured. So if you get up and you go work for a company that builds airplanes or motors or valves, or it doesn't matter what it is, it's going to go into something bigger that's going to help someone somewhere else.
Right.
That's really what it's about.
Right. Absolutely. And I don't know if you guys know this, like Greg was just saying, all the cool kids are going into manufacturing, by the way, So, I mean, and when you think about it, like now what they're saying, like when you get in your car, it's really not even inside a vehicle. It's a technology piece of equipment, right? Yeah. So, I mean, as you were describing, Damon, manufacturers now, when you walk in, it's a tech, there's an opportunity even for smaller manufacturers between automation, robotics, as these costs keep going down and the scalability and the availability, the opportunities, we're all huge advocates of the MEP network. That's a manufacturing extension partnerships. They're fighting relentlessly to help manufacturers, on a global scale. So this is just super exciting. David Crysler, last question for you, my friend. Manufacturing Day that you want to share for the folks out there.
Yeah, I mean, I would kind of echo what everybody else is saying on here, sharing stories of how this industry has impacted you personally, the fun that you have, the impact that you can have on other people's lives, and just continuing to build on that. There's no doubt that I come from a print manufacturing background. That's where the majority of my expertise has lived. And, you would hear things like, well, print is dead, print is being replaced by technology and all these different things. And, it touches manufacturing even more broadly than just in print. And the reality of it is that all of these industries will continue to change. And new technologies will be introduced, new automations will be introduced. And what will happen with that is they won't be replaced and go away. The jobs will need an increasing level of skill. And so, people interested in tech, there's a real place for you in manufacturing, because as these, large organizations start to invest in those automation pieces and, even from a visibility standpoint, when we talk about ERP and, MRP and all these other components that, touch on visibility, there's a real place for anybody that's interested, all the way from, shop floor. I love building things. I love to get my hands dirty, all the way to, software engineer, accountant, finance tech, CFO, it spans the gamut. So there is for sure a place for you within manufacturing. I encourage you to, visit your local MEP, go out on some tours, get into some of these organizations and connect with the people, because that will sell you on being a part of manufacturing. When you start to meet some of the genuine people that I guarantee you will meet. And Dan Bigger, we got to change the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon to the 6 degrees of Dan Bigger. And so connect with him first. And, you are guaranteed to not only think bigger, but to be connected to a bigger network with amazing people. So thank you.
Absolutely. And Damon, can you pull up Diane Byer's last comment there? We got to read that for everybody here. Manufacturing, we build products, build networks and communities. We build futures. There's really no words to go beyond that one, right?
Yeah.
We could just wind down. I get Damon. Any
You're
parting
right there.
thoughts on your end, dude? We're gonna wrap up. Any last words?
Just grateful. Just grateful.
Hey, how about thank you to Damon and Curt for doing this every week, basically, and more than that. I mean, you two guys have just been huge for this industry. And, you bring people like these folks together all the time. And I mean, I think everybody who knows you two has just got like huge gratitude to you guys for all you're doing for all our careers and for the industry.
Well,
Completely
thank
agree.
you, brother. Man,
Yeah,
thank you. That
you.
means the world to me, Greg.
Yeah.
Thank you. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, guys, and it's an honor and privilege, Damon, to do this every week. I can't express my gratitude to you, brother, every single Friday. We're back on Mondays and we enjoy this every minute of it. And, the big thing is we bring on folks, and it's almost like when you put things out to the world, what you attract. It's like folks of, David, like you were describing earlier, people of integrity, salt of the earth, and honest to goodness, like that's what you find in manufacturing. You find Dan Biggers, you find Greg Mischio, David, Nicole, Val Weber, Diane, everybody on Whitney, Gary Wood, everybody on here, just amazing, incredible people.
Yeah.
And it's just such an honor and blessing to be a part of this group and this network. So here's our last words for you today, guys. Thank you. Celebrate, if you know a manufacturer, give them a pat on the back. And like, as Greg's describing, from any aspect that they're part of that manufacturing world, thank them for what they're doing for our economy. Boy, as you guys go out there for this weekend, there's football, there's baseball. I know we got the Mariners are in the playoffs. We got all sorts of exciting things going on. First time in 20 years?
21 years.
First time in 21 years. So guys, go out there, be someone's inspiration, man. Whether it's your significant other, a family member, child, parent. Maybe it's somebody maybe somebody cut you off today. Who knows what they're going through today? Just be someone's inspiration, and thank you for everything you do. Damon, let's take it. Let's close it out. Guys, if you want to hang out 1 second, we'll close it out with you guys behind stage. Damon, take it away, brother.
All right, Curt. Thanks so much. Thanks to everyone in the comments today that shows up, but thanks for helping us celebrate Manufacturing Day. And as Curt said, if you know a manufacturer, go out and shake their hand, give them a pat on the back, whatever. Just tell them we appreciate you. Thanks to David and Greg, Dan for getting on stage with us, Val for coming up. Too bad we had some tech issues, but thanks everyone. This is a community that we love to be a part of, and we feel honored to be able to share the people that are in it and just share with you and educate as much as we can. And we're going to be back again next week. Have a great weekend, everyone.